When it's time to relax, I read books and drink wine. It's the perfect way to decompress from the day because when I drink wine and read a book, I'm transported to another time and place. In this episode, Allison, Christine, and I share a favorite book that inspires us and the wine that complements each page. Enjoy the video, give it a like, let us know your favorite book and wine pairing, and subscribe to our channel for more. Each of us is an avid reader, and of course, we love our wine too. A perfect combination, books and wine. Each inspires in their own way, whether the book is a nonfiction or fiction, and the wine is a classic favorite or new taste. Both take us to a new level of relaxation. Allison, what's on your bookshelf and in the glass?
Well, the book that I am reading is called Palmento, A Sicilian Wine Odyssey by Robert Camuto. Love this book. Robert is an American journalist who lives in Italy with his family, and his most recent book is entitled South of Somewhere, Wine, Food, and the Soul of Italy, a book I could not put down because Robert has this way of writing where you feel like you're there with him. You're meeting the winemakers, eating the food, and Palmento is the same. This is his previous book, where he went to Sicily to explore the emerging wine scene. Now, it's not a wine book. You don't have to be a wine person to like this book. If you love travel, if you love food, if you love wine, wine is sort of the backdrop, but it's so much more. It's about the people, the place, the history. And if you love to travel, you will love it because Sicily is at the top of my bucket list. And I feel like I'm traveling through the region with him as he describes the personalities and flavors. I mean, I can't even do it justice, but this is what I mean. His visual writing, he wrote something, it's quote, "For the second course, Angela brought out handmade tagliatelle and a pale, fragrant tomato sauce on which we sprinkled grated caciocavalli, the semi-hard cheese made for centuries in Sicily and southern Italy, and often used as a table cheese. The tomatoes, which had been canned from the garden and cooked to the point that they were just beginning to fall apart, were some of the sweetest I'd ever tasted." I mean, I know that isn't like the whole book, but just those two sentences get my stomach turning. I get hungry and it makes me so want a glass of wine. So I'm drinking Sicilian wine, of course. And I have the Cantine Settisoli Mandrarosa Nero d'Avola. This is a 2014. I've had it for a couple of years, so I think it's sort of time to drink it now. It's from Menfi on the southwest part of Sicily. It's 100% Nero d'Avola. I'm getting dark berries, vanilla, like black cherry jam, mocha, and almost like that Mediterranean brush. Really nice tannins, just a nice, juicy, rich wine that is going to satisfy my palate while I'm reading this book. So, Christine, what are you reading and sipping?
Well, I want to start off with a caveat, and that is by saying that I am an English Lit major, got my degree in English literature, and I have found my escape through the pages of books since as far back as I can actually remember. However, the last year and a half has been a tricky one for me, and reading is not something I have a lot of time for anymore. After the death of my husband in July 2021, every time I went to pick up a book, I would find myself not remembering the last few pages of what I had just read. Then I came to understand that a lack of focus is a big part of the grieving process. This summer, however, a dear friend of mine, my dear Wonder Twin, gifted me a book that inspired me to open up the cover and start reading it. It is called Warrior Goddess Training, Become the Woman You Were Meant to Be. And, you know, the title's a little woo-woo, but within the covers, I'm finding a beautiful book. It's absolutely a self-help book, but I feel it's more of a guide towards my direction, my new direction, and my personal journey into becoming a solo parent, a solo mama, and a widow. I'm learning through it to speak my truth, energize my creativity, and be even more open to love than I ever have been before. I know that sounds like a lot, but here we are. So of course, while reading a book about women and empowerment and just opening up your heart and celebrating what it is to be a woman on this planet, I wanted a unique wine, a white wine from a kick-ass female winemaker. I chose Hillside Heritage Series 2020 Muscat Otnell from the Naramata Bench in my beautiful British Columbia. Kathy Malone is an absolute rock star in our BC wine industry and is an absolute visionary. Muscat Otnell was the first grape they actually planted at the Hillside Estate in 1984. It is, my goodness, popping out of the glass at me. It is just beautiful. It is floral. It is feminine. It is spicy. So it's this like beautiful combination of what I think that women are and women can be. I'm going to go have a sip. This is like balanced, bright, beautiful, all the things. It's just a delightful wine. And I love this theme. Thank you so much. Cindy, what wine and book choice do you have?
Well, I have Provence 1970. The setting of the book is obviously one of my favorite places, Provence, and I cannot wait to return for many reasons. Provence 1970 is written by Luc Barr, who was the grandnephew of the iconic MFK Fisher. And Luc Barr found his great aunt's detailed journals and letters when she was in the hills above Côte d'Azur for a few weeks with Julia Child and her husband, Simone Beck, James Beard, Richard Olney, all leading voices in the food world at that time. And the book describes their conversations, a bit of gossip, which I loved, arguments about the future of food in America. At that time, people were going from, just home cooking, everything made at home, to maybe a little bit faster food, or Americans wanted something a little bit easier to make. And they ate during this time in Provence. The group ate French food, drank a lot of wine throughout the entire book. So I was really inspired about reading about these food greats in one spot, Provence, because in the late 60s and early 70s, I do remember the change from home cooking to a faster way of doing it, thanks to my mother, who would buy boxed food and she would experiment with Julia Child's recipes. Julia Child made food more understandable. And in the book, that shows that there's a little dichotomy about, should we be doing just the traditional classic French food, or should we make French food more accessible and easy to make for American people? Really fascinating book. So I read the book a few times, and most recently I've paired the book with a wine from a place that I stayed in Provence, Chateau de Bern. Now, this wine is made, the winemaker is Alexis Cornu, and the wine is the Chateau de Bern 2015 Côte de Provence. It's mostly Syrah and Cabernet Sauvignon. Everyone thinks of Rosé as the Provence flagship, and in many ways it is, but you can get some incredible red wines there too. So let's give this one a taste. Well, first, the aromas just leap out: earth and spice and meat. That's it, right here on the nose. And on the palate, same, ripe fruit, that spice, wood. It's so expressive. I feel like I'm in Provence with the thyme and the rosemary and all of those things. This is a wonderful pairing with the book. And I highly recommend all of our choices for inspiration in whatever way you need some inspiration. These are great choices, ladies. Thank you so much for sharing. We really found some meaningful pairings. So how about you? What are your favorite books and wine pairings? Give our video a like, comment about that, and subscribe to our channel for more. Cheers.
Cheers.